Hi everyone, it's Jessie here, your Stampin' Up demonstrator for Australia. I'm here with another tutorial using these really two pretty little stamp sets, Pretty Kitty and Bella and Friends. Today I'm going to be showing you a bit more of a messy watercolour technique. So here is a card that I completed using the Bella and Friends stamp set. I've used this little pup with the balloon. And I'll be your up when you're feeling down. I thought that was a really cute sentiment with the balloon picture. So I've just done a really simple card here. I've used a Wisteria Wonder base this is just an A4 sheet cut in half. You can see my previous tutorial for how to cut your A4 in half, but basically it's in centimetres, 14.9 centimetres by 10, and then score at 10.5 centimetres. And then the piece of watercolour paper that I've done over the top is 14 centimetres by 9.5 centimetres. And then I've just used Marina Mist and Wild Wasabi for the watercolouring and Archival Black for the stamping. So I'm going to do another card today, a similar card using some different colours and the Pretty Kitty stamp set from Stampin' Up. So I've got my stamps here ready, and we will be using this cute little kitty in the garden. And then we'll have Hope Your Birthday is Just Like You, Wonderful in Every Way. So let's get started. I thought today that I would use a Bermuda Bay cardstock base and I'll just fold that quickly. So that's my A4 cut in half and scored down the middle, and then another piece of watercolour cardstock over the top. So basically what you want to do is you want to use some washi tape. Now I'm just using this crushed curry washi tape, crushed curry, sorry. This is from the It's My Party collection from the Last Occasions catalogue, so this is actually now retired, but it's fantastic for these sorts of little projects. So what you want to do is, before we start, we just want to tape down the card. But we want to make sure that it's straight, because the white border, the part that's taped, will become your white border, and you will get some running underneath, but you want to be able to have the border that runs around, and you want it to be relatively straight, otherwise your card will look a little bit odd. So if you don't have washi tape, you can use masking tape or scotch tape. You just need to be able to peel it off when you're done. So that's why the washi tape is best, because you can move it around and peel it off if you've positioned it in the wrong way. Now taping it down, it gives you the border, but it also helps keep the piece of watercolour paper really, or more straight, because we're going to wet it and it's going to want to curl up. So here's my watercolor, my aqua painter, and what I'm going to do is it's only half full, but I'm going to use pretty much the full amount to wet my card over. You want it to, so you just give it a little squeeze and it starts pushing out all of the water as you paint, and you want to get it all across the card. Make sure that the sides are wet and all of the top is wet. Go over it to make sure that there's not any little dry patches left. Now, you might think this is a bit of overkill, but you want a little layer of water on the top, because otherwise, if there's any dry bits, it won't, when you go to apply the colours, it will leave brush stroke marks rather than running, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Now, I've already got 3 colours prepared. I've got Pip Pirouette, Calypso Coral and Wisteria Wonder. So I've used the re-inkers to put a couple of drops in the lid of each of these, but if you don't have re-inkers, you can squeeze the ink pad so that you get some on the lid. I just find the re-inkers make it a little bit easier because it's already runny rather than you know, flattened out across the surface. But either way works well. It's personal preference. So can you see how that's just run as soon as I've touched it? So that won't happen if the watercolour paper isn't wet enough. Then what will happen is the watercolour paper will just absorb all of the ink right there where it is, and it won't spread around. So I'll just leave that like that for now. I'll just clean my brush on the side so that I don't mix my colours up. I'm going to go on to the Calypso Coral now and add a few drops of water to that. And then we'll just start mixing that around. So I did want the colours to blend a little bit, run into each other, and then I've got a little bit of Wisteria Wonder to add back to it as well. So we'll fill in the gaps with some Wisteria Wonder. Let's just join up those two, I think that would look nice. A bit of a play. It's lots of fun doing this sort of stuff. And you can use any colours that you have on hand. If you try and use colours that are sort of near each other on the rainbow, then you will find that they blend easier. But you can also get some really nice colour combinations by blending colours that are on the opposite sides of the colour wheel. And this is my Wisteria Wonder. You can see I've done some watercolour previously with it and I haven't cleaned my lid very well. You can actually leave the ink in there to dry, but I prefer to clean it all out in between. Oh, I think this is looking really lovely. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear some feedback on what you guys think about my tutorials or the techniques that I use, whether you've used them yourself or, you know, what you've come up with, variations and that sort of thing. I'd really love to hear from you. Just fill in that last little bit. Now the aqua painter is fantastic because it holds the water in it, so you can just squeeze it as you need and the water will come out. But if you don't have an aqua painter, you could just use a paintbrush that's got a nice soft tip on it, because you want to be able to have it a little bit pliable. So I'm just wiping off on the side just to get my brush clean, because I'm going to go over these bits of pink pirouette and just add a bit more colour in. It's a very pale, pretty colour, so I'll just make it a little bit stronger, because it often, when you dry it, the colours become a little bit more pale as they dry. Alright, I think that's good. Now I'll just clean that pink off. You can see here where I've cleaned off my brush previously. That's the blended pen that I've used there to clean off. Okay, so now you can leave this overnight to dry, but what I'm going to do, I'm just quickly using a bit of tissue to wipe up the excess there, and I'll pop those inks away. Okay, you can leave this overnight to dry. I am forever impatient. So I've got my heat emboss tool here. Now the thing that you want to be careful about is these little puddles of water. You don't want to blow them around too much, because otherwise you'll muck up the little puddles of colour. So just give it an easy once over. Try and dry sort of close to the puddle without sort of blowing the puddle around too much. And that way, if you then go off and dry another bit, all of the puddle will soak into the dry bit. So then you won't affect it too much. And I've just got my heat gun on the first setting, because it's a much softer blow than what the second setting is. I will pump it up to the second setting in a minute, but we'll just work on these little puddles first. I'm really, really happy with how this watercolouring background has turned out. What do you guys think? Is this a colour combination that you would have normally gone for? I'd love to know some favourites, some different ideas to try. If you'd like to leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Alrighty, we'll pump it up to 2 for a minute. that a go. I'll just pop my heat tool away. Alright, and we'll take off the washi tape to reveal our lovely border. Look at that, hardly any bleeding at all. So you can see obviously I've stuck down the washi tape a little bit better than I did on my previous card. Bring it back for comparison and you can see there's a fair bit of bleeding around the edges of this one. But that one's actually quite clean. So that's good. Alright, moving on. We're going to use our archival black stamping pad. You could use Memento now because the paper is dry. But I'm going to use my archival anyway because that's the one that I've got out. Just double check that my image is nice and clean. This is a really cute little kitty in the garden, I think. So I'm going to pop my kitty up. I think I prefer it this way. I'm going to pop my kitty up a little bit because I want to put the wonderful just like you, or wonderful in every way. I want to pop that sentiment underneath my image. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of room for that. There we go. Oh, that's really cute. I said it in my last video and I'm going to say it again. I didn't think that I would enjoy this stamp set. I thought it was cute, but I didn't think that it was something that, you know, would really resonate with me. But I'm really enjoying it. Oops, that's a little bit smudged. That's okay. Okay, and there we go, that's beautiful. What do you guys think? I'm quite happy with how that's turned out, even though it's got a little bit of smudging and it's a little bit off center. I still think it's a really, really cute card front. And it's simple and easy and fun to do, so what more do you want? So, now let's just quickly check what it looks like. Oh, those colours go really well. Hooray! I was wondering whether to use Bermuda in the mixture, because this is Bermuda Bay cardstock that I'm using for the base. But I actually think that all those three colours go really nicely against the Bermuda Bay. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to leave that to dry for a minute before I pop the glue on and stick it down. So I'll just leave it here for the minute for you guys to check out with my old one. You could finish off the inside with another piece of Whisper White, maybe a little kitten somewhere, and another small sentiment, or even just the picture on its own. You've got a nice sentiment on the front. But this really is a cute little set, both of them. I've enjoyed them thoroughly. I've got one more set of the cards to make. So I'll bring those to you shortly. And if in the meantime you've got any queries, you'd like a catalogue, you'd like to order anything, please let me know. My blog address is mollypossum.blogspot.com.au, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.